Hey, what is going on, everybody? It is Rob, aka The Diligent Dev, and welcome to our fifth and final installment in the Tinder-style movie night picker application. In this section, we're going to be focusing on displaying the matches for our users, and we're also going to be doing some app polishing, adding things like navigation and logout. So let's go ahead and jump over to the computer and get right into it. Okay, so here we are over at the computer and I have our project loaded up in Visual Studio Code. I also have a development server running. I went to the terminal and ran npm run serve, and our development server is on the right-hand side with our application all loaded up. So in order to get matches into our project, we're going to be using VuexFire, and this will give us some real-time functionality on our matches page without having to write a bunch of extra code. So to do this, we're going to head to our store. We're going to go to modules and user. And up here at the top, we're going to import Firestore action from VuexFire. And we're also going to import our DB from our main.js file. Then on our state, we're going to add a new property, and we're going to call it matches. And we're going to set it to an empty array. Then we're going to scroll down to our actions, and we're going to create a new action called bind matches ref. We're going to set this to a Firestore action. We're going to pass in the context. Then we're going to say return context dot bind Firestore ref. We're going to bind it to our matches property that we just created. And then we're going to say db.collection. We're going to reference the users collection. Then we're going to say .doc, and we need to get the user ID, and we have that in the state. So we're going to say context.state.id. And then we're going to grab the matches collection off of that user, or the sub collection. And it looks like I missed a comma here. And then I'm going to hit Alt-Shift-F to format that so we get a better look at it. Then we're going to save that. We're going to head over to our index.js off the store. Up here at the top, we're going to import VuexFire mutations from VuexFire. And then inside of our mutations, we're just going to do the spread operator and say VuexFire mutations. And go ahead and save all of that. And the last thing we need to do is head over to views, home, and inside of our created lifecycle hook, we're just going to say this.$store.dispatch, and we need to dispatch that action we just created. So we're going to say user/bind matches ref, and go ahead and save everything. And now VuexFire is set up on our matches, and we don't have to write any more code to get the real-time functionality on our matches page. And speaking of our matches page, let's go ahead and create it. So we'll head over to views. We'll add a new file. We will call it matches.view. We'll create our template tag. I'm just going to put an H1 in here as a placeholder right now. And then we're going to save that, head over to our router, index.js, and all I'm going to do is copy this add partner and paste it below. We'll change this to matches. We will change the name to matches. We'll keep the route guard. We'll change the webpack chunk name to matches. And then we'll go ahead and point this at our matches page. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. We'll go ahead and log in. Then I'm going to head to our matches page. And we have that all loaded up now. And then let's head back to our matches page. And underneath our template, we'll make our script tag. And inside of here, we're not going to need very much. The first thing we're going to do is create a computed property. And inside of that, we will make a method called matches. And we'll just return this $store.state.user.matches. Hit Alt-Shift-F to format that and save it. And then above our computed, we'll make a methods prop. And we're going to use this to get the poster path. And we actually already have this on our home page. We're going to scroll down and we're going to look at this movie image. And all I'm going to do is grab this, head back to our matches page, create a method called getMovieImage. We're going to pass in a poster path. And then I'm going to paste in what I grabbed off of our home page. And what we're going to do, instead of checking this .currentmovie.poster path, we're going to check the poster path to see if it exists. And then if it does, we're going to do the text interpolation on here and go ahead and paste that in there. And I'll just hit Alt-Shift-F to format everything and save it. The next thing we're going to do is build out our template. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close this down. I'll get rid of this H1 and we're just going to wrap everything in a V container. Inside of this V container, we're going to do a V row. Then we're going to do a V call inside of that. On this V call, we'll give it an MD equal to 6. And we're going to say V4 match in matches. And then we're going to give it a key equal to match.id. Inside of our V call, we're going to do a V card. We're going to give it a class of mx-auto. And then inside of our V card, we're going to do another V container. Inside of here, we'll do a V call. We'll give it an MD equal to 8. We will give it a V list item title. And we'll give this a class equal to headline. Margin bottom equal to 1. We'll go ahead and close this. And then inside of this list item title, we're going to give it our match.title, which will be the title of the movie. Underneath this, we're going to do a paragraph tag. And inside of this, we'll do match.overview. And this will be the description of the movie. Then underneath of our V call here, we'll do another V call. We'll give this one MD of 4. Inside of it, we'll do a V image. And we will give it a source equal to get movie image. And pass in the match.poster underscore path. And go ahead and hit Alt-Shift-F and save everything. And now we see we have a card in here. And since we've only specified mediums, we'll go ahead and look at this. And it's not looking exactly how I want it to. And the reason for that is because we have to wrap these calls that we put in here inside of a V row. So we'll say V row. Then I'm just going to go ahead and grab this and cut it and then paste it right under our column here. Alt-Shift-F and save everything. And now when we come back, we have our card with our match. It's got our title, the description, and the movie poster. Now that we have our matches displaying, we could go ahead and finish the video here, but what I want to do is polish up our app a little bit and give it a nicer user experience. And one of the things that I really want to do is put in some navigation because we have a bunch of pages now. We have our home page, an add partner page, and we also have our matches page. And I'd like to display those in a side navigation to make it easier for our users to navigate around our app. So to do that, what we're going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. We're going to head back to our app.view file. I'm going to go ahead and cut this V app bar. And then I'm going to go to components and we're going to add a new file and we're going to call this appbar.view. So we'll put our template tag in there and we'll go ahead and paste our app bar in. And then below that, we will add our script tag. We'll go ahead and save everything. Then I'm going to head back to app.view
and we're going to import that component. So up here at the top of the script tag, we're going to import app bar from components / app bar. We'll go ahead and register this as a component, and then we will inject it into our template. And it looks like I accidentally deleted the V app, so we'll go ahead and put that back in. Hit Alt-Shift-F to format everything, and we'll go ahead and get rid of that line. Since we accidentally copy and pasted that V app, we'll go ahead and remove it from our app bar, and then I'm going to go ahead and save everything. And as expected, nothing has changed on the page. The next thing I'm going to do is wrap everything in a div, because we're going to be adding another component, and you can't have two components in your root. Underneath our app bar, we'll add a V navigation drawer. Go ahead and close that. We're going to give it a V model equal to drawer. We'll give it the absolute tag, bottom, and temporary. Hit Alt-Shift-F, and I'm going to go ahead and close this down so we can get a better look at the code. Now inside of our navigation drawer, we're going to do a VList, and we're going to give it a property of nav and dense. Inside of our VList, we're going to have some VList items. So I'm going to say VList item group, and we're going to give this group an active class equal to primary. Inside of this, we're going to have a VList item, and we're going to give it a to property, and it will be equal to /home. And then inside of this VList item, we're going to have a VList item title, and it's going to be home. You can hit Alt-Shift-F to format that, and then we're going to go ahead and just copy this VList item and paste it 2 more times below. The next one we're going to have is matches, and we will change this to matches as well, and then this one is going to be our add partner page. And we will change the list item title to add partner. Now, in order to display this, we're going to go up to our V app bar, and right before our title, we're going to say V app bar nav icon. On the click event, we're going to say drawer equals the opposite of drawer. And then we're only going to show this if a user is logged in. So we're going to say vif and set that equal to user ID. Now we don't have any of this inside of our export default. So what I'm going to do is create a data property. We're going to set our drawer prop and set that to false. And then below our data property, we're going to do a computed. We're going to say user ID. And we're going to return this $store.state.user.id. Hit Alt-Shift-F to format everything, and then I'm going to save. Then I'm going to reload the page. And we see we have our icon here to open the drawer. If we open it, right now it's showing on the bottom because the screen is smaller. But if we open it now on a larger screen, we can click home, we go back to the home page, we can click on matches, it takes us to matches, and add partner takes us to the add partner page. And now that we have navigation working, the last thing I want to do is replace this add partner button with a logout button. So we'll go ahead and make this smaller. And we already have a button all wired up here, but instead of having it do some sort of navigation, we're going to have it log out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this to, and then we're going to bind to the click event, and I'm going to say logout user. And then for the text, we're just going to say logout. The next thing we're going to need to do is clear out the Vuex store data for the user on the logout click. So I'm going to head back to store.user, and I'm just going to go ahead and copy one of these, and we're going to set this to clear user data instead of set user data. And we'll also set the mutation equal to clear user data as well. We're going to need to make this mutation. So up here under set user data, I'm going to go ahead and paste that in, and we'll pass in these states. We don't need to pass in a payload because we're not going to be passing anything to it. And all I'm going to say is state.id equals null, state.name equals null, state.email also equal to null. And instead of commas, we need semicolons here. And then we'll say state.partnerID, and you guessed it, we're going to set it equal to null. We're going to set state.movieAPI and set that to 1. And then last we're going to do is state.matches, and we'll just set that back to an empty array. Then we'll head back to our app bar. We're going to import Firebase at the top of our script tag. And then right below data, we'll create a new methods property. And we're going to set a methods property equal to async logout user. The first thing we're going to do is await firebase.auth sign out. Once that's finished, we'll say this .store.dispatch. We're going to dispatch that user / clear user data action that we just created. And then after that, we'll say this $router.replace. And we're just going to send them back to the sign-in page. Go ahead and put a comma down here, Alt-Shift-F, and save that. And we actually need to save everything. Then if I come out here and I hit log out, we are taken back to our sign-in page, and you will notice that our drawer icon is now gone and the login button has disappeared as well. So I'm just gonna log back in. And you'll see now that both of those have come back, and our app is looking just a little bit more polished. So that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for our movie night picker tutorial. Now, if you got any value out of this, I'd really appreciate it if you smash that like and subscribe button. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about this tutorial, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section below. And until next time, happy coding.